Hello, everyone, and welcome, 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 especially if you're going through a little bit of a hard time finding a way to be peaceful, finding a way to kind of settle in and feel balanced in a world that sometimes feels a little crazy. So if you're having any trouble with that, sit down, buckle up, get yourself a bowl of popcorn and your favorite drink, and let's see what Mother Mary can offer to you so you can hopefully um, feel like you're not alone and you can make it through whatever the challenges are that you may be facing, and that there's good things all around us and good things ahead of us, and that's really where we might want to put our focus. So you're most welcome to be here. I so appreciate everyone who comes on the call or who looks at it later. And I love to get your comments and feedback. So feel free to like my channel and share it as you feel, because I've been doing this now for a long time, and my goal is always just to share messages of hope and positivity throughout the world. So I'm Samara, but I know you tuned in to hear from Mother Mary. So without further ado, let me just take a moment. What I do is I tell people it's like I get in the back seat and let her drive. And so in just a moment, you'll hear from our beloved Mother Mary. Hmm. Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sort of wonder and look and see and listen. Is there a recipe, a simple 3 ingredient recipe that I can utilize in any given day to be more peaceful, to feel a sense of purpose, and maybe even to reignite a dormant passion? Hmm. So, peace, passion, purpose. How do we accomplish that? And so the simplest thing to understand is that, like any good recipe, there will be spices and ingredients that you add to the mix to make it your own. So I'm going to give you some um, general ingredients, but then it will be up to you to decide exactly what spices to add. So the first thing is peace, because if you are not feeling peaceful, what happens is your nervous system, your mental capacity, your emotional body, everything becomes into this fight or flight or even confusion state. And so it's not a good place to make a decision. It's not a good place to operate in your life. And so without peace, everything else sort of falls apart and you become almost robotic in how you are operating. So the first ingredient in your recipe is to find peace. So to find it, like what, is it in my shelf? Is it in my pantry? Where's my peace? I want you to ask yourself the question, what am I allowing? What am I allowing? Am I allowing the noise of whoever? Am I allowing the chaotic situations in other countries? Am I allowing the political difficulties that people are having? Am I allowing myself to worry about, who's going to win the World Cup? What's going on? So allowing is this place in you that has to sort of filter and decide what serves me that is also loving. What serves me that is also loving. And so if what you're allowing is not serving you and does not feel loving, the first thing you can do is say, I need to change that part of the recipe. I need to let go of certain people, certain situations, watching the news for hours at a time, continually worrying about this one or that. So to find peace, you have to ask, what am I allowing? And then shift and change to allow that which nourishes you, that which feels peaceful to you, that which feels enlivening and good to you. Not always easy, but then again, when you want to make a wonderful recipe, sometimes it takes a little extra time. So then, as you begin to really allow this peace, What usually happens then is this word but arrives. Oh, but I have responsibilities. But what about the children? What about this? What about that? But. And so here is where the mental body has to sort of take a little time and look at, what am I believing? What am I believing? Am I believing that I'm in charge of the world? Am I believing that I'm in charge of everyone else's happiness? Am I believing that if I don't do it all, somehow the world's going to fall apart or my family won't love me anymore or whatever? What am I believing? And often it has to do with a sense of over responsibility and control. You're trying to take care of things beyond the scope of what is possible for you. And you believe that somehow you should be doing it, no matter what it costs you, no matter. And so, in order to have that shift in your recipe, now you ask yourself, not only what am I believing and what am I allowing, but do I deserve to have a balanced, loving life? Mm. And these are the issues that may arise as you're making these changes to have a recipe for a life that is peaceful and purposeful. And perhaps in a moment we'll get to passion. So most of you are very hardworking, very diligent, very responsible people, and we appreciate each of those qualities. But there is a balancing that must now take place where you realize, if I'm not taking care of myself in a way that honors me, in a way that is loving, in a way that is sustaining of my light, it's not a good choice. It's not a good recipe. So coming back to the beginning, you ask yourself, what am I allowing? And then the believing is, do I believe that I should allow that? That I should allow people to be disrespectful? That I should allow all this responsibility and everyone else is sitting on the sofa having a cold drink? You know? So again, it's not that I'm saying this is the right way. What I'm asking you to do is take a look at how your operating system, which is what you're allowing and what you're believing, is really creating exactly the experience that you're having. And so if you like your experience, that's wonderful. If for some reason you feel like it's time to make a shift, that's when you say, what am I allowing? What am I believing? And realize the most loving thing you can do for everyone is to take care of yourself in a way that is truly in honor of your spirit and in honor of who you are. And so, what does that look like? For each of you, it might be yoga, nature, music, animals, children, grandchildren, walks in the park, creations. It's all, like I said, these are the spices that you put in. Because the third step in this little recipe is to ask yourself, what am I choosing? What am I choosing? And again, this is to understand that you are the one that can create your life in a different way if you want to. What am I choosing? Am I choosing to believe this is all I'm capable of? Am I choosing to believe that, oh, I don't matter anyway? Am I choosing to believe that, it's my job to take care of everyone? Well, how's that working for you? And if it is, that's wonderful. But in order to have a life that has passion, what begins to happen is that outer aspect of obligation, when it's so large, takes your oxygen away from what would otherwise be your passion. So the irony is we don't want you to not serve other people. We don't want you to not love your friends and family and, cook dinner and all that. That's not what we're saying. It's the overextension of your energy beyond what is peaceful and happy and loving for you. That's what we're talking about. Because underneath that obligation, those rocks that you're carrying around, because you believe it's your job to keep carrying all these rocks. What starts to happen then is when you start to take care of yourself. I'm going to put it this way, and I hope the language is okay for you. The Holy Spirit that lives inside of you can finally get your attention. Now, some call it the higher self, but I believe the Holy Spirit is even a more generous way to describe it. Because what is your higher self but the Holy Spirit of you, right? And so when you've realized, I want to balance my life in a way that nurtures me first, and then allows that to pour out in whatever ways, again, are for your highest good. Now you've got it. So this recipe is really about understanding a very simple truth. It's your boat, and you are the captain. It's your boat, and you are the captain. And yes, the seas can be rough. And some days the winds are strong, and some days the winds fail you. That's all true. But when you start to think about, I came to this life to awaken my true holy self, to live in whatever ways nurture that. And meanwhile, yes, to have friends and family and certain responsibilities and all of that. But there's a passion that awaits each of you, even greater than what you know right now. And that passion is when you say, you know what? For the rest of this year and into next year and beyond, I'm going to listen to my holy self. And if there's ever any confusion, I'm going to ask myself those three questions. What am I allowing? What am I believing? And what am I choosing? ABC, don't you love that? So here is this simple recipe to say, you know, there's so many analogies I could use, but when I think about Jesus, I feel like the message that he brought to all of you, and I'm not talking about whether or not you are a Christian, Jew, Muslim, I'm talking about the message Jesus brought. And what he said was, all that I do, you can do and more. And he didn't mean more in the sense of tiring yourself to the extent that you fall into bed each night exhausted. He meant to call upon the Holy Spirit and to use that energy to live your life with joy, with peace, with purpose, and with passion. And when you do that, it's a beautiful recipe. And then you add your spices, you add music, you add yoga, you add nature, you add potluck dinners, you add, whatever feels good and feeds you. But the underlying and most important message is that when you take full responsibility of your boat, your chalice, your life, you begin to see that everything out there is something you can respond to, but not feel compelled to diminish yourself in that response. You have the right to say no. You have the right to say yes. You have the right to say maybe later. And when you do that, all the constrictions that have so entangled your life and the lives of pretty much everyone on the planet right now can be sort of like a spider web. It no longer holds you. It's just something you can brush away with a broom and say, I'm free now. I'm free. I'm free. Um, so I want to end the recording today in a simple prayer for you. May you know that you are loved. May you know that you are loved. May you know that on all the times and worlds that existed, there is no one just like you. No one. And so each of you has this spectacular essence to birth and share that is yours alone, yours alone. And when you do that, there is such a unification for you to still be the human being, the man or woman, whatever in your life, absolutely. But to walk really in a way where you're in the world but not of the world. To be that earth angel that you came to be. So I just wanted to say to all of you, I love you very much. And I hope to see you doing your recipes, your ABCs. What am I allowing? What am I believing? What am I choosing? And let each of those questions be answered in a way that says, I'm allowing my joy. I'm believing that I'm worthy. And I'm choosing to live the light I came to be. Therefore, so it is. Much love, darlings. Much love. Namaste.